Hello and welcome to this Let's Play for Star Traders Frontiers. Star Traders Frontiers is a galactic sandbox game in which you take the role of a Star Trader, either following a preset storyline or playing within the sandbox to make your own way through the galaxy. In this particular series, we're going to be doing some free roaming. We're going to skip the storyline, in part because if anybody's interested, spoiling the storyline is no fun. And also because I'm currently playing through the storyline, I'm a little ways into it, and I don't really want to start over. So what we're going to do is we're going to just kind of forget about the storyline, and the mechanics are pretty much the same, except for the fact that with the storyline you get specific missions that you need to take in order to obviously progress. So we may touch on talking about it a little bit, but no details, just to let you know what parallels in the sandbox and what parallels in the storyline. So to start, we're going to create a new captain. We do have the ability, obviously, to load an existing captain. Unlocks as you earn achievements through gameplay. If your game qualifies for unlocks, you can view them here. We have options, key bindings, credits, and quit. So we're going to choose our new captain. Now, the Star Trader series started off as a series of mobile games, starting with Star Traders RPG and Star Traders 4X Elite. And Star Traders Frontiers was originally a Kickstarter, I believe, and was labeled as Star Traders RPG 2, from what I saw. It has since become Star Traders Frontiers. This was released in 2018, I believe, so it's actually not a new game. I do have this on the iPad, and I really liked it. It was on sale, so I figured, hey, I'll get it on the PC because, I like these kinds of games. So therefore, there's a lot of I don't want to say mobile aesthetics, but there are a lot of decisions here which make a lot of sense if you think about them in terms of this being a game that was developed from a mobile lineage, right? So, first up, our character creation. We have 4 templates that we can choose from. And over here on the right, we have information about what each template means. So the first one we have is a Corsair, or a pirate. They prioritize their skills and their ship, obviously, because you need a good ship to be a pirate. It tells you what you're going to be looking at here. So pirates skilled at ambushing merchants and smugglers, as well as creeping into faction holdings to sell stolen cargo. The attributes here, you have, your highest is fortitude. I'm not really sure what these attributes govern, really, per se, because there's not much of a tutorial, and I haven't really looked around for any kind of documentation. And as you can see, there's no tooltips, unfortunately, probably owing to its mobile-first lineage. You have 9 skills here for tactics, intimidate, and command. These are the kind of skills that a pirate would need. You are flying the Fidelis Cutter, which doesn't really mean much to us now unless we knew what a Fidelis Cutter looked like in terms of loadout and capability. And you have one type of contact, which is a smuggler. So that's nice, I guess, if you want to play that kind of gameplay. That's not really me. So second is the Nomad Explorer here. Your strengths are going out and finding the currently unfound. This involves survival skills. This involves exploration skills. The attributes here for the Nomad are better than the pirate, so it's a little more well-rounded, and you have a lot more contacts here: politician, weapons dealer, fixer, retired explorer, spice trader, smuggler, etc. The bounty hunter is also going to be probably another combat-oriented class to start with. Good attributes here. You have no bonus skills, unfortunately, so you kind of have to build your own as you go. And in this particular case, you'll be flying the Guardian Interceptor, whatever that means. Your contacts are going to be a little more kind of to the extreme. So you have a prince or princes, basically, you know, politician, I guess, ex-bounty hunter, military commander, and on the opposite side you've got fixers. So you can get your you can get your commendations from the higher ups, but you can also head to the black market to get the materials you need to do your job. And then there's the traveler or the smuggler. And this one's kind of maxed out here in the attributes. You've got 30 fortitude, 30 wisdom, 24 resilience, 24 charisma. You'd be flying the Frontier liner, which is the same as the Nomad Explorer. Yep. And you have contacts, which would be relevant for doing your job. Obviously, smugglers, spice traders, merchants, but you also have prince, retired explorer, and fixer. So you're a little on the darker side here, but you're not completely, you're kind of in a darker gray area. So what does all this mean? What does your class selection mean? Well, aside from providing you with your attributes, skills, or lack thereof, and your ship, the context is really what you're after, because this is where you can get missions, and these are where you're going to be building your reputation. Reputation is very important in order to get missions and other special considerations. So you definitely want to make sure that pick a class based on your preferred playstyle. You can also copy, and you can also, I believe, modify a template. You can create a brand new template, and you can go ahead and customize a lot of this stuff. So if you want to make someone who's just completely above board or completely below board, you can go ahead and you can do that by creating your own template. So you don't have to pick one of these. I'm going to try the Nomad Explorer. Not fantastic in the attributes, but we do have some skills that are necessary, and we've got a good array of contacts here. So we are going to go ahead and hit launch. Now this is kind of where the mobile heritage comes in. The character models are not flashy. This whole game is really not flashy. If you're looking for, you know, like the next Halo or something like that, this is definitely not it. This is for fans of really deep sandbox space exploration games who like menus more than visuals. The models here are all based on parts, right? So you've got head, hair, arms, torso, legs, feet, hands, weapons, and so on and so forth. So you can, choose uniform, and everything changes, right, based on what you want to choose. You can go ahead and you can choose different faces and hairstyles and things like that. So you can go ahead and you can, click through until you find something you like, and you can choose male and female. So we'll use this character. That's fine. Over here, you can change your map, your faction, and your difficulty. So the map essentially is a layout of all of the star systems that you have available to you. You have default map version 2, which I guess is an engine version. There was information that says, I guess default map V2 can have up to 70 sectors available to it. The default map, I guess, is the original map, and that has less capabilities. You can also create a new map. I created one called Pack 25. So it only has 25 quadrants, but the contents of each quadrant are closer together. So we're not traveling as far, which is something I enjoy. So here on default map, here we'll do Pack 25. This is what we'll be choosing. So this is your map seed. So if anybody wanted to copy this map seed, they could create a new map, use this map seed, and get exactly the same map that I'm using here. So it says 0 captains are using this map. You may delete it. So if I wanted to, that's fine. But if I had a game in progress that was using this map, then obviously I couldn't delete it. All of these are the factions that inhabit this map. And there's, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different factions. The first Few of them are the major political factions, and the last 4 are like pirate factions, but we'll take a look at those later. We can explore the map on each one here by using this preview. So this is what our map is going to look like. Where we start is, going to be, I'm not sure how that's actually determined, but you can see each sector has a danger rating, a controlling faction, and a kind of general list of systems in this sector and who they're controlled by. So it kind of gives you an idea of who's where, who controls what, and essentially how dangerous it is. Down here you see this one has an 18 danger rating, so that's very dangerous compared to this one, which is only 4 danger. So this doesn't allow for a lot of cross travel, right? So we can go from here to here, we can go from here all the way around if we want, but once we start getting over here, we dead end in a lot of places. So if we wanted to look at the default map, we can take a look. This is a lot. This has a lot more systems in it and a lot more sectors available to it. But we're just playing a simple game, so we'll do Pact 25 and we'll select that. So the faction, like I said, the first 5 are the political factions, and the last 4 are pirate factions. So each one has a blurb, kind of explains what they're about. Then you have zone bonuses. So these are the things that the zone attributes boosts for each zone that is controlled by this particular syndicate. So for the Devaltos owned sectors, they're always going to have base economy and then +4 to their economy, and their starport level is going to be base level +2, so they're going to have nicer starports. They also have special rules. So in this particular case, the Devaltos, because of their advanced medical technology, the cost of healing is reduced by 20%. And if we recruit a swordsman from the Devaltos region, they gain additional attribute bonuses for their faction affinity. So Devaltos is the most powerful. They value wealth and manufacturing and finance. Cater, they are the military-focused group. Their sectors have +4 military, so they're safer. Their starports are nicer. And for military captains, you get a bonus spice and medical supplies available at their holdings for captains with a military rank, and we'll get to that later. Rykart, they are the more political group, so they have +4 spice reserves in all of their sectors and +2 government. And in this case, they can raise crew morale to 90 as opposed to 80. So again, we'll some of these things may not make sense right now, and we'll get to them as we go. So House Thulin, if you do the actually, I don't even know. This is the default. Whenever you come in with a new game, this is default. So House Thulin is the quote-unquote de facto leader of the Alliance of Nobles. They're good in economy, and they have a pretty buff starport, and repair for ship hull and component damage takes less time. Clan Javat is miners, trade, and deep space operations, so they get +8 economy in specialized zones and +2 trade port. But they offer fuel at a 10% discount, so that's super important because you'll be fueling up a lot. As for the pirates, or these guys here, Steel Song, they're the most militaristic group. They have a positive +4 spice, +4 military. So they have a lot of stuff going on here. So Steel Song starports grant a +1% discount per grade of edict on component upgrades. That's, again, something we'll we'll talk about later. They will never accept bribes, and blade dancers recruited from them have bonuses. Moklam Nui clan, they are a trade network. So they are, any trading within this network adds 15% profit bonus. So that's pretty good if you're like a smuggler. That would be a good choice to choose. They're architect and shipyard masters. So the +4 starport, +2 military. Ship construction, 15% less time, and clan Zenrin. Let's see, they're survivors notable in the final clan liberated from the guild. They are stoic and thoughtful in their actions. So +1% to all ratings. +1 to everything. Known to be both stubborn and robust, their contacts live 30% longer than normal. Employing a unique blend of holistic medicine. The cost of healing is reduced by 20%. And if a bodyguard is recruited... Okay, so I think Clan Zenrin... I call these pirates only because I know that Steel Song and some of these I've run into and they've been kind of like, jerks. But I think these are like the first 5 are actually more the guilds. They're the political arms, and these guys down here are independents. So I think we put it that way, a little nicer. But so let's see, Clan Zenrin. I don't know, man. They're pretty good. They get +1 to everything. They get +4 to starport, +5 to economy. So Steel Song, they control 2 quadrants and 18 landing zones. Like Cater here controls 3 quadrants and 29 landing zones across 27 systems. So that's pretty significant. Syndicate Reichart. Now, the interesting thing about them is that they're good at spying. So if a saboteur is recruited, they get additional attribute bonuses. The thing that I'm looking at primarily is spice, because spice is a way to keep morale up on your crew. You bring them to the spice hall and give them a little R&R, and they won't mutiny. So spice is oftentimes, I don't want to say hard to come by, but spice halls are not, their inventory is not infinite. So if your crew is particularly mutinous at a particular time, you could bring them to a spice hall to try and remedy that, but you could effectively drain the place and still not satisfy everybody on your crew. So this is something that I've been kind of looking at. Although, yeah, I'm going to go back to Cater, because military terms, I'm going to have to eventually upgrade the ship. And in order to do that, I want to really upgrade it with better weapons, better shields, and stuff like that in order to survive. Because once you can defend yourself in the void, then you're better off. So we're just going to go ahead and just choose Cater Syndicate. Now the difficulty, there's a lot of difficulties. Custom you can change however you want. Basic, however, does not allow your captain or your officers to die. Okay, so you have your captain, and then you have a handful of officers, and everybody else is crew. So your crew get a pretty generous chance to survive anything that might kill them. So 80% plus their resilience attribute. We don't get any achievements, which that's cool. We get up to 4 save slots in this particular mode. Now, pretty much all of these, as the time goes, our enemies increase in difficulty. So their levels will go up, and they'll get smarter, and their ships will become better. So in this particular case, enemies will be at 60% of normal value. The risks that are available to us, or that are presented to us, will be 80% of the normal value. And 25% combat boost. I think this is combat boost gives your captain raw stat bonuses in battle against enemies. So we get a 25% boost. Now the rewards, however, we get plus 40% bonus XP for stuff we do, and we get plus 25% bonus profit. So basic is pretty good if you're learning the ropes. Normal, basically we're looking at We've got a reduction in the percent for crew save versus death. The enemies, the risks are a little better, a little worse for us, basically. The enemies, as you can see, we go from 60 to 80%, and we get less of a combat boost. Our rewards are less in both cases. So we go all the way up to challenging, demanding, and then we get into things like hard. Welcome to permadeath. Captain permanently die. All characters get a death save of only 40% plus resilience. Save slots for the first 12 weeks, otherwise disabled by Captain permadeath. So for the first 12 weeks of gameplay, you can save your game. After that, you're on your own. Enemies are at 110%, so it's really difficult. Risks are at 115%. You only get 10% combat boost. Rewards are kind of crappy. And then you get impossible. So basically, this is the entire universe is against you. You might as well not even get out of bed in the morning. So we're just going to go back to basic. You can go ahead and you can choose custom as well. So if you really wanted to make it, hard or easy, you can go ahead and modify each of these particular items. So we're just going to roll with basic because we're just interested in playing. We're not here to prove anything to anybody. You can manually assign your talents for your captain if you want, but we're not going to do that because we chose the archetype and we're just going to let that roll. We're going to skip the intro. The intro is good if you're going to be playing the storyline, but we're going to basically breeze past the storyline. So we're just not going to, we're not going to even deal with that. It's going to kind of sort of start us off there in a little vague bit of an intro, but we're just gonna skip it. You can also rename your character. Captain Shar is fine, so we'll just go ahead and we'll just launch. All right, so again, this is the extreme tail end of the intro, in which they kind of set you up for a story. There's some dialogue. Basically, the gist of it is you're asked to pick up a particular NPC, the Arbiter, and bring her to a particular sector. There's some kind of intrigue going on, and the Arbiter is kind of like a judge who's supposed to be uncorruptible and whose judgment is absolute. So you're asked to go pick her up and bring her someplace. So basically, that's what this is. The Arbiter is waiting. If we plan to take her to the Fane Court, otherwise we should move on. And we're going to just move on. All right, so here is our universe. Actually, this is just one sector. We can move around by holding down the left mouse button. And we move ourselves by clicking someplace and choosing the right mouse button. We're here in Galactics. This is where our ship is. So the story wants us to move over here to Zionekan because it's gone ahead and set our destination if that's what we choose to do. But we don't choose to do that. We're going to skip it. So we'll just leave it for now. Each of these locations is a system, a solar system. And each one has a planet, and each one has possibly one, maybe two landing zones. Landing zone may be a, like for this one up here, this one is an orbital station. Some of these are cities, like this is a city down here. This is a fortress. We have each of these icons in the center of these circles indicates the type of major settlement that you're going to get. This place here has two locations. We have a farming area as well as an independent tradeway. So usually if you're playing the story, you just go there and deal with what the story wants you to deal with. But if you're playing, kind of freeform, this kind of information is going to be important. So, for example, here we've got an indie tradeway. We can refuel our ship, and they have a spice hall, which is important. But there's also the Javat farming colony here. So there's an orange icon which indicates that we have a known contact here. There's also the spice hall, medical, repairs, and refueling. So looking at this mouse over is important to help us figure out exactly if a particular place is worthwhile to visit or not. Now, each of those icons is represented around the central ring here. Maybe that's a little difficult to see. I can't zoom in any further, but right here at Galactics, where we are right now, we do have the orange icon, which indicates a known contact. And we also have refuel, repair, medical, and spice. We also have flags, individual flags here, which indicate the presence of a particular guild or independent organization. In this particular case, we also have this green flag here. So if we hover over this, we'll see that the green flag is tagged to the Indie Wilderness. And the green flag indicates that there is an exploration opportunity here. So in addition to having this Cater refinery, which offers several important services, we also have a wilderness. So at this point, we're not really doing much of anything. I guess it bears talking about the rest of the interface so we can get it out of the way. Up here we have our captain's hit points, and we have our ship's hit points. So the captain obviously can get damaged in ship combat, as can anybody in the crew. Captain, as well as anybody in the crew, can also take damage during ground combat. The ship obviously can take damage during ship combat. It can also take damage during exploration events, as well as just moving around. So if we were to move around and encounter an event where we run into, like, say, a meteor storm or something like that, it can damage our ship. Up here we have our current reputation in the system that the sector that we're in. So we chose Cater as our quote-unquote home faction. So our base rep is 10. We have a 0 rank with them in the military. We have no permits, and we have no edicts. Edicts are like commissions or letters of marque. So basically we're pretty basic in terms of Cater. They know us. They're not super familiar with us, and we have no perks with them. It also displays information on the current faction. So there's a trade ban going on with the Steel Song, and we do have an alliance with the Moklamune. We're just going to call them the Moks. We have an alliance with them, and there's detriments for the trade ban and benefits for the alliance, which we'll check out later. Pratelia Corridor is where we are, and this is the date. Time does change. Some missions do have a certain amount of time to complete them. Travel does take time, and as we saw briefly, apparently some of our contacts can die. So just, of old age. And apparently we probably can too. So we definitely want to keep that in mind. Danger, we have a value of 10 in this particular quadrant. That's a matter that's a measure of like how often we can expect to be interdicted during moving. Pirates and zealots, people who basically want to be a thorn in our side. If the lower the number, the safer it is. The higher the number, the less safe it is. This bar up here is probably the most important part of the interface because it is kind of like a dashboard light section that informs you of super important information. So each slot has a particular icon that will show up. The first one is our fuel information. So in this particular case, it's telling us we have enough fuel, 22 units, in order to make a hyper warp jump. So that's how much fuel it's going to take to make a hyper warp jump. If we had less than that, this icon would be different. The other two icons, the helmet icon says that there's one empty bed on board, which means we have a vacancy on our crew, and we should probably hire somebody. And the chevron with the green plus shows us that we have one crew member who is ready to level either a job rank or a talent. So we'll take a look at that when necessary. Down here we have our credits. We have 17,000 credits. Our cargo complement, we have 0 of 65 slots filled. And down here we have kind of our, I don't want to say diplomacy, but it's kind of our I don't know, our people and things to do section. So the first icon here is our current mission. I don't know why that's blinking. We have our current mission button. Then we have known contacts. We have era and known rumors. And then finally we have our faction politics. So right now our current mission, we have that go pick up the Arbiter mission, which we're not going to do. So rather than let this hang out, we're going to go ahead and click this action button, and we're going to do cancel mission. So it's going to warn us that says, hey, you really want to do this? It might be more difficult to pick it up later on if you change your mind. But yeah, we're not doing that. So we're just going to remove that and get that out of our way. So our known contacts, this is going to be important for not just for the sandbox play, but also when you are playing the storyline, because you may play the storyline, time will pass, so certain things will be important to get done in a certain amount of time. But if you've got downtime, you can come in here and you can check on your contacts. So each contact has a particular, obviously, affiliation, and they also have a particular specialty. So in this particular case, Penelope, she is a Cater politician. These are the services that she can offer. So she offers us diplomatic missions. If we wanted to trend towards diplomatic gameplay, she can offer us missions for those. Introductions, meaning that we can ask her to be introduced to another contact. And basically the reputation we have with her will probably determine the quality of the contacts that we get. She sells pardons. As if our reputation with the Cater faction dips into the negative, we can go ahead and we can buy an indulgence and get pardoned so that Cater military doesn't shoot us on sight. She will offer us the ability to recruit diplomat or zealots for our crew. That will help us to succeed in diplomatic missions by giving us, buffs and options to deploy specific skills during any kind of encounter that requires diplomacy. And she'll buy intel. Intel we get from exploration and salvage. This is where she is, so if we ever need to find her, we'll know where to go. And this is her influence. So right now she's at 52 out of 100. The influence, I'm not entirely sure what it does in terms of gameplay. We can kind of assume that, obviously the higher the influence, the better it is to know them, because they can offer us, better perks. But know that every single time you complete mission for people, you'll get XP, you'll get rep with them, and their influence will go up. So you're effectively going to be leveling this on their behalf by taking their missions. So some traits. She's generous. Missions pay 10% more and have 10% longer deadlines, which is super awesome. She's a warhawk. She considers faction rep 50% more in a faction rep is 50% more valuable in effective rep, increased chance of violent missions, and recruits zealots. Okay, so that bears looking at quickly. I guess a personal rep. This is our personal reputation with Penelope. Our general Cater rep, which we saw was 10, adds up to not 19. This should technically be 25. So somewhere along this void right here, there's other things being calculated that give us our effective reputation. This is a little bit more than just a straight up value. Later on, we'll look at some things where we see that reputation actually acts as a currency and can be depleted, depending on if we want to engage in specific services with these people. So it's always important to keep this as high as possible in order to keep our options open. So she has 2 traits that are currently unknown. While some of our crew and other NPCs have traits that are known, for example, she's generous and has a warhawk, there's 2 that we simply don't know. She's a woman of intrigue. So here's her connections to other contacts. So this is what she knows of other people. So we've got 3 green, 2 red. So she supports Cater Syndicate, Courtesan Alexander Zatovsky, Ultimasic military commander Sage Nearbo, and Cater Syndicate politician Ajax Locks, and opposes Clan Zenrin Gestalt technologist Rauert and Steel Song fixer Soquin Soleil. These contacts are going to be important basically as we try and create a network of people that we can talk to. The ones that she supports and that support her are going to be important. We can kind of ride those rails towards getting missions and benefits, whereas the ones in red are going to be the ones that are a little more difficult, if not impossible. So up here at the top, we have the ability to just choose a waypoint and to immediately set sail for their particular location. Considering right now she's at Galactics, which is where we are, a waypoint or navigation is not going to do anything. Anyhow, we do have other different types. So she's a politician. Estelle here, she's the story arbiter that we were supposed to pick up. We can go talk to her if we wanted to, but we're gonna basically skip it. What we do want as explorers is probably here. Gay Natum. She's probably the one we want to talk to because she offers us explorer missions, which is really what we want. She offers Exoscout recruits, which is important to us. Exoscout recruits give us have a lot of focus on going out into the wilderness to get stuff done. Salvage rumors are also important. We can buy a salvage rumor and go check it out. If we're there, we can get some free loot, basically, or fight off pirates or other things. She offers trade permits up to rank 2. Certain items are trade permit locked. We have access, I believe, to level 1, but anything higher than that is going to be locked until we buy a trade permit. And she'll buy scientific intel, which we can, again, find probably through salvage or exploration. She's over here in the Wolf class frontier, so we're definitely going to want to try and get over there. She's in the Devaltos Syndicate. So her influence is currently 36 out of 100. She's born to royalty. Her missions pay 10% less, but have 15% lower rank cost. So that's kind of crappy. But maybe eventually we could get her to provide us with some additional contacts. She actually can't. So actually, to be honest, I'm not really sure if going all the way out there is worthwhile. Penelope offers us increased chance of violent missions and recruits zealots. Let's check out some other people, though. Spice trader. Smuggler missions, merchant recruits, discounted spice. That kind of sucks. Actually, you know what? Let's just stay in our lane and just go with the exploration. So she's 2 jumps away. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose our waypoint, which has gone ahead and set us a new waypoint. So this is a jump gate, these little black holes here, and this is how we get between different locations. So because we've set our destination, you can see that we've got little markers moving along the spaceways here. So we're right here. We're going to go to Veered Spiral and then down to Wolf Class Frontier. So that's how we're going to get to our location. All right, we spent a lot of time here in the known contacts. Error and rumors, we have none because we haven't really done anything yet. And our faction politics, this is super important if you're really one of those people that likes to, really dig into the details. The Cater Syndicate, as we mentioned, has a trade ban with Steel Song. So what that means is that there's going to be penalties. As we are Cater Syndicate, there's going to be penalties if we're in a Steel Song quadrant and landing zone, to the point where they're going to deny us stuff. And if we do have the ability to, shop their areas, there's going to be a penalty on the price. The inverse, we have an alliance with the Mock clan here, which means that some of the stuff that we do for our own clan may actually have benefits with Maklamune as well. So if we are, what's it say right here? So reputation loss for destroying ships of the Allied faction. If we blow up Maklamune ships, Maklamnu, whatever. If we destroy their ships, we're going to get a reputation loss with Cater because we're in an alliance. The reputation gain for acknowledging military ships of an allied faction. If we run into a military ship from our allies and we give them a high five, then we actually get a reputation gain. Increased reputation gain for missions and greatly adds military contacts to both factions. So basically, working with our allies is beneficial to us, and we want to make sure we don't do anything to piss them off. Whereas the trade ban kind of is like the inverse. So we get dinged for doing a lot of for doing business with them, and their ships are generally going to be more hostile. So here's basically our rep with other factions. We start off with a 10 rep for the Cater Syndicate, which is we knew, and then we don't have any rep with anybody else because we haven't done anything else. Really quick, over here on the other side, this is an information panel. As we start moving and time ticks by, we're going to start seeing this fill up. This is going to inform us about things that happen on our ship or happen to our ship. It will also give us some quick information. Some of the things that are bad that happen either on or to our ship can be mitigated by some of our crew skills. So we'll either get information that the crew was successfully mitigated detrimental effects, or if they failed, what the outcome of that failure is. So this is useful to keep an eye on if all hell breaks loose. The first item over here, this is our Star Atlas. So this basically gives us everything about the Peleia corridor. So this is the quadrant we're in. These are all of the systems in here. And this is actually what I was looking for the other day. Okay, so right here, Galactics. Our last landing was 3 days ago, because time keeps on slipping into the future. It is a small sector. We have an oceanic world, dense atmosphere, and the danger is normal. So here, the Crucian Heights is a landing zone, and these are the services that it offers. So we've got our fuel, repair, medical, spice, and contact. These are the things that they sell. They sell methane, fuel, and scrap, and these are the things that they buy. Now, each item has, I don't know if you can see it, I don't know what the resolution is going to end up being. Hopefully it'll be pretty good, but if you look really, really closely in the corner of each of these, there's a letter, like a grade you'd get in school, right? So the methane fuel here is a C+, and the scrap here I think is a C+ or C-. Some of these are B's, some of these are C's, some of them are D's or A's. That has that's, I believe, a quick shortcut to explaining the pricing of a particular item. So if something is an A or A+, that's the best price you could get it at pretty much anywhere. If it's an F, that's like the absolute worst price you can get it anywhere. When you go to sell, that actually factors into something, and I'm not entirely sure what it means. I have to look into it, and I'll get back to you. Over here, it tells us that water fuel is 5 credits per unit. This information here gives you everything you need to know about this particular landing zone. So 18 economy, which is outstanding. They probably give us some pretty good prices. They're a large city. Their starport is legendary, meaning they're probably going to have a lot better services, either lower cost, more inventory, whatever. Their military is 10, and that's quadrant wide. So everything in this, the Cater military is pretty active in this particular quadrant. The government is ever present. This is the spice capital. So they have a rating of 10. So super important for spice here. And their trade law is at 6, and it's very high. Trade law is going to be super important if you start dealing with illegal goods, because trade law dictates the more or less the legality, I guess, of what you can buy and sell. If you have something that is considered generally illegal, you have to find a trade port with a trade law of like 2 or less in order to be able to sell it, or you have to find a black market contact to be able to sell to them. If you come into, if you brought illegal goods to Galactics here, to Crucian Heights, they wouldn't buy it because it's illegal and the trade law is too strict. And we do have a list of our contact here, as well as all of the things that they offer for us. So you can, when you come into a quadrant, they call it, you can look at all of the systems here, and you can go ahead and click on each of them and see at least the services here. But we have not, since we haven't made worldfall to these, we don't necessarily know specifics about their current like market and their situation here. So once we do, we'll be able to come back and use this kind of as a quick overview. So each one of those entries is one of these guys here on the map. We made a quick look at our general galaxy map. So again, this shows us, you know, the type of major world here, the faction that controls it. These, I'm not sure what these little icons mean. There's a contact here, there's a contact here. I don't know what this little green icon means. Oh, wait, contacts may sell Pruia blooms. Oh, that's interesting. Contacts may sell Coloxian medical bays. Contacts may say Traverse spice wax. I don't know if those are legal or illegal. Congdon locust. I think those might be illegal items. Bexian spice tea. Anyway, this is your map. Okay, so you can consult your officers, and this is interesting. Your crew, let's look at the crew first, actually. So the crew manifest. You have a lot of crew. And if you're a fan of micromanagement, this is really the game for you. Because as time goes on, your ship will gain XP, and that's, you know, everybody on board. So if you're in combat and you succeed, everybody on board gets XP. If you take certain people out to you know, do ground combat, those people will get XP. If you're out exploring, everybody gets XP. So you've got a level bar for everybody. You've got a hit point bar and a morale bar. You also have their rank here. This is junior crew. Sander here is an officer, and over here we are the captain. But we also have a job. So the captain's job is explorer. Kartan here, he's an officer and he's a doctor. Jinsaje here is an officer. She's an engineer. Sander, officer, quartermaster. Lavana is junior crew, and she's a crew dog, which is more or less kind of like general crew member. So each person has both a rank and a role. So that's super important because you need to keep your roles filled. If you didn't have any engineers on your ship and your ship gets damaged, you're pretty much screwed. If you don't have any gunners on your ship or anybody with gunnery skills, your performance in combat is really going to suffer. So you also have a faction flag. We're all cater right now, and that determines where you recruit them from. If you're, like, for example, if morale for a particular person dips below a certain point and you dock at their home faction place, there's a good chance they'll desert. Okay, so there's the higher chance they'll desert in their home neighborhood than somewhere else. So yeah, basically we are, as you noticed in our little dashboard bar that we had up here, it said that we had one open bed. So we have room for one recruit. So we can hold up to 28 crew members, and each one is an individual. So we're going to look here at our cells, because right up here in the corner, we've got the chevron with the green plus that indicates we can rank up. So these screens are universal for basically all of our crew members. So we have our attribute information, skills, and our traits. Right. So for our character, we're level 1, hit points, morale, attributes, and skills we saw when we were creating. Our traits and background here, we have overkeen. So she's obsessive in the search, doubles the chance of drawing Xeno artifact cards when exploring, and exploring missions start with plus 10% chance to draw a mission card. So that's super awesome. Being able to have a buff to finding certain things is great. She also has the Voyager trait, so she's highly skilled at riding galactic winds, +2 wisdom, +1 resilience, and reduces travel time and fuel consumption by 10%, which is, again, super awesome. Fuel is going to be something that is going to be a limiting factor as we move through here. Over here, this is our level up section. So it says she's ready for training. She's got the ability to train 1 new talent. So we can click the train talents to do that. But first, we'll notice that she's an explorer. She has no explorer talents set currently. For crew combat, when in crew combat, she is currently equipped with a Predator pistol, and she prefers to position 4. You can take up to 4 people on a ground combat missions in slots 1, 2, 3, and 4, 4 being further in the back. Each NPC has a particular position for where they want to be in the combat order. She prefers to be way in the back, so we're going to actually look at switching her up because a pistol is probably not super awesome for being way in the back. And her initiative range is 8 minus 14. Well, that's interesting. The initiative determines who acts first and how many actions you can take in a turn of crew combat. Initiative range is the average of your quickness and wisdom, plus any bonuses or penalties. So I believe the higher your initiative is, the sooner you'll go, but the higher your initiative is, the more actions you can take in ground combat, because each action you take has an initiative cost. So there's that. She has +2 wisdom and +1 resilience, which we know because we saw over here because of her Voyager talent. All right, so we're going to go ahead and train talents. So each NPC has the option to select talents, potentially, when they level up. Now, in this particular case, we're showing all talents that are going to be made available to this particular character, most of which we can't quite take yet. So this one right here, Unseen Traces, for example, requires rank 5. So we don't really care about that. We're going to untick this Show All Talents because we don't want to see anything that we can't buy yet. That significantly reduces our number. So we have the option to choose Far Voyager. So an expert rover knows the ins and outs of hyperwarp, reduces fuel cost by 2, plus our Explorer skill. So this is the fuel cost when jumping between quadrants. Gut Instinct automatically passes a failed Explore test in any situation. Plentiful rewards. When exploring a wild zone, increase reward by 10% plus our Explore skill. And Vigilant Search. When exploring a wild zone, reroll any risk card. Now, choosing one of these right now out of the gate, if this is your first time playing, is probably going to be like a lot of head scratching. A lot of this stuff doesn't necessarily make any sense until you actually get into these situations. So right out of the gate, however, the first two that really make a lot of sense is going to be Far Voyager and Gut Instinct. As I mentioned, while you're out doing stuff, your crew has the chance to mitigate things that might happen to you. Gut Instinct in this particular case will automatically pass a failed Explore test in any situation, including exploration or during a mission. So if we're out in a mission and we have, a random situation that requires for an exploration roll and we fail it, this skill would basically mitigate that failure and give us an automatic success. So that's important. I don't know how often that is going to come up, especially compared to Far Voyager. So we're going to be doing a lot of jumping. Matter of fact, we're going to be jumping twice in order to get to our first contact. So we definitely would benefit from this on a more regular basis. So we're going to choose that. Now we can choose, eventually we can choose, as many of these as we want to. And I guess if you survive long enough, you could potentially just get all of these. So we're gonna choose that. So that should give us a little bit of a boost when we're talking about traveling between sections. So each character has a whole wealth of options to play with. This is our stats page. This is the first page that we get when we go to any character. We can change our equipment. Right now, she's wearing the reinforced mesh weave armor. So there's 2 types of damage for crew combat, and there's ballistic and melee. This is pretty good. We have a 108% deflection and a +4 dodge. It says auto from weapons locker, which basically means that our ship kind of came with a bunch of basic equipment. So we've pulled this out, and it's nothing special. We could go ahead and we could try and change it, but the only other option is operative mesh. The armor ratings are not any better, really, than what we've got currently, but we can't really use this because, oh, actually we can. It requires a skill in order to be able to use this. But we don't, again, we don't want to use this because it's not super useful. It's not any better than what we've got. Now, what you equip here for your armor is not reflected in your character avatar because we chose a uniform. So that really doesn't reflect anything. You always just obviously want to be equipping the best stuff you've got. While you go through and you do exploration, or if you purchase extra stuff at shops, that'll show up here. So you can go ahead and you can get some cool stuff. Specialist gear, we don't have any yet. It says available for purchase from contacts and officers, and up to 0 crew and 0 based on captain's level. We don't have any. We can't use any. This is special perk stuff that we want to keep an eye out for. Now, our weapon here, we have several different types of weapons. This has a base damage of 33 to 54, 10% piercing, 6% accuracy, and 0% parry, because we're not going to parry with a pistol. It's automatically assigned from our weapons locker. Now, we do have other weapons here. We have a blade, we have a rifle, a shotgun, sniper rifle, and a pistol. Again, because she prefers to be in the back in the combat order, we're going to swap her out, and we're going to give her a rifle. And this is, again, I don't know if this is visible. Hopefully it is. The resolution's good enough. There's some little dots down here. On the left, we've got 2 blue dots and 2 gray dots. And then on the right, we have 3 red dots and 1 gray dot. This represents the situation in combat. So a blue dot on the left is the ideal position we want to be in to be most effective with this particular weapon. As a rifle, it's a long-range weapon. The 2 blue dots in the back is really where you want to be with this particular weapon. The red dots are on the right side are who could possibly be affected on the enemy side. So our side, when we do crew combat, our side is going to be on the left. The enemy side is going to be on the right. So anything in the red means you can reach these people with this weapon, in these positions. We can't reach somebody who's in the 4th position on the enemy side with this. So keep that in mind. If we were to change up to, say, the blade, this would change significantly. So we can use the blade from the first 2 positions, position 1 and 2, and we could reach positions 1 and 2 on the enemy side. But if we're in position 3 and 4, the blade is absolutely useless. And we obviously can't reach positions 3 and 4 on the enemy side with a blade. Sniper rifle, for example, we don't have the skill for, so we can't choose that. But the shotgun actually shows that we have a red X in the 4th position on our side, meaning that if we're in here, if we're in this position, it's absolutely useless. We can't even use it. So if you had a shotgun and you were in the 4th position, it would be like you were already dead. So you're not helping anybody. We'll see in ground combat that you can move people around in order to get into the optimal position, so it's not really a death sentence, but if you find yourself in 4th position with the shotgun, you're going to want to remedy that. So we're just going to choose the rifle here because that's her preference. Offhand blade, if we had a pistol, we could actually, I guess, dual wield. I've never actually paid attention to that. So that's kind of interesting. All right, so that's our equipment. Visual, at any time we can go ahead and we can change up what our character looks like. So if we want to spend the time, we can go through all of our crew members and customize their appearance. I'll leave that to you. Jobs. This is basically each crew member comes in with a job. For example, our commander here is an explorer. So she's already got a level 1 in exploration. She has no levels in anything else. So we say we have currently here for explorer, and then we have train for everything else. Now, captains and officers can train up to 3 of these, but only 3. So you have to be pretty judicious in what you choose. Your crew members can only choose 1, I believe, regular crew. So as you level up every certain amount of time, you can either pump your points into an existing job in order to crank it up, or you can multi-class. For some characters, it's up to 3. This is important because it adds to some of your attributes here. So for an explorer, we get +1 tactics, +1 electronics, +2 explore. Some of the other things we might want to look at as the captain, we want to choose commander. So we get +1 tactics, +2 command, +1 intimidate. We might also want to choose exo scout because we are explorer focus. This gives us +2 to rifles, which we've just equipped, +1 to evasion to avoid, damage, and +1 to explore, which would add to our +2 explore. So it would be, probably beneficial to have the captain, multi-class from explorer and exo scout, maybe explorer, commander and exo scout. So some of our other folks might benefit from different combinations. We've already looked at talents, and again, these rank up pretty fast. We get to choose these a lot. And then we can dismiss. Now, obviously, we're not going to dismiss the captain. If for some reason we want to get rid of, I don't know, a crew member, we can do that here. And we can use these forward and backwards options here to roll through all of our other crew members. Usually, I don't really do that. I'll come here and I'll look for the level up icon. But other than that, I don't usually spend a lot of time in here unless I need to figure out whose morale is low, right? Because sometimes it'll say, hey, you've got so many crew members who have low morale. And I'll be like, who's got the problem? Just to figure out exactly what needs to be done. Auto train. This supposedly will train all available talents for the crew shown in the current filter. Right now, we have no current filter. If anybody levels up and they have talents to spend, I guess pressing this button will just automatically pick something. I'm not really sure how well that works. I've never done it. I've just been manually doing it. So I don't know, maybe we'll try it a couple times. We can filter. So if we only want to know who our officers are, we can go ahead and we can filter. So we have our captain and 3 officers. Pretty cool. Or we can just choose, all. So if we want to see who's injured, nobody's injured. If we only want to see the people who have the option to level up, we can choose that. We can see the ship's crew. We have ship's crew, and then we have, soldiers, or quote-unquote Marines, I guess, on board who have no role aboard the ship, but they're just there for combat use. We can also look at people who have armor. She has armor. People who have particular weapons, I guess. And then we have these stars, and we can star each person basically to kind of organize. So we can say like, oh yeah, the captain's yellow and the officers are red, and everybody else is just, going to be blank. So we can kind of indicate, how we want to see people, and then we can just sort by individual options, name. The one thing that oh, actually we can sort by morale. Oh, that's good. Okay, that's what I wanted to know. So if anybody's got bad morale, we can actually sort by that. So this is our main crew list. We can view the traits of our crew members. So this basically removes all of their little icons and shows us what their traits are. We can select on them. So for example, who do we got here? We got Helis. Her traits are virtuous and gossip. So each one of these NPCs, this is why I say this game is so deep, because each one of these NPCs has these individual traits that play into, what they do or what they're able to do. She's got gain charisma % chance to learn a rumor when spicing. So when she's down in the spice hall, her charisma value, which is 19, she has a 19% chance to learn a rumor. So that's super awesome. These things are all moving in the background, whenever we do stuff. We also have the talent manifest. So this is all the talents that we currently have available. So skill saving are the things that will automatically change a failure into a success. Ship encounters, these are things that we will use when we are in an encounter. So, for example, in this case, rep protection, which is a super useful one, masks the ship's identification to reduce rep loss when ending in a draw. So, if we end an encounter kind of in a draw, which doesn't necessarily mean that we've engaged in combat, we may just both decide to just back off. We won't gain any rep loss. So we can look at basically all kinds of information down here. We have, for explorers, we have no exploration traits, which is kind of baffling. So anyway, that's how we look at our crew. We also then can actually talk to our officers. So every now and then you click on the consult officers, it starts giving you tooltips. So as captain, you have to make enough credits to keep your ship running and your crew paid. And then your crew will actually, elaborate on that. Crew will want to be paid once a month, otherwise morale will start to drop. The ship will need repairs and fuel, and there are many ways to make credits, missions, trading piracy, and so on and so forth. Then it says, consider stocking our cargo hold with goods from planetary exchanges. Keep an eye out for a planet that needs the resource. We can turn a healthy profit by building trading into our routine. So that one was basically telling us about money. Anytime we need to, get a random tooltip, that's kind of how it presents itself. All right. So then we have our locations. First up, we have our ship. I guess this just kind of finishes the UI business here. This is our ship. The Frontier liner. We can go ahead and we can call it something else. We can give it change the names of everything. You can also change the names of your crew. So if you're one of those people that likes to play and assign the names of your friends to your characters to kind of get a laugh when they go full cannibal, you can do that here. Although people in this game tend to desert, so you may find that your friends have left you. That is not a judgment call. You could change the name. This is our visual when we're in ship combat. This is what we're going to look like. Firepower by range. We are most effective at range 5, 4, 3, and 2. We are not good nose to nose with our enemy, and that'll make more sense when we're in combat. Statistics on our ship. So this is our mass, hull, fuel, how much fuel we can carry, which is important. 135 units. Armor, shields, medical. How many passengers we can take. So these are NPC passengers that may be provided to us as part of a mission. So that's pretty good. We have no launch capability, meaning we can't take any parasite craft, so no fighters or anything like that. Information about movement, so 2 fuel per AU, so as we move through the void, every single AU that we move, we use 2 fuel. We have 8 reactor points, which is important during combat, and we'll look at that. Speed, agility, and are useful in combat. Jump cost is 22. That's in fuel. So every time we jump, it'll cost us 22 fuel. And safety is engine safety. So the higher the value, the safer our engine is when we jump. If it's really, really low as a result of damage or because we got a crappy engine, there's a chance that the engine will, explode. Of course, if we do have somebody who has a talent that can immediately mitigate that, that's super beneficial. And here's just game information. So we're a level 1 explorer. We chose the basic difficulty, the current date, and we've taken 0 turns so far. And over here is our crew. So you'll see that we have 4 out of 4 officers, so we're fully staffed with officers. We are missing 1 crew member, which again is this little helmet up here on the dashboard. Each position on the ship has a certain minimum number of people that it needs in order to make it 100% effective. Right now, we have more people assigned than we need. So the blue bar will fill up to 100%, and then it starts turning into this gold bar to show us that we're kind of overloading it. So we have 16 to 14 pilots. We need 14. We have 16. Puts us at 114% crew capacity for that particular station, which is good. Having more people than you need is not a bad thing, because if crew die or crew, desert, then you've got people to take over. If the blue bar starts getting down real low, then you're in trouble and you're going to have to go to a landing zone to recruit people. All right, so these are our components for our ship. We have 3 different slots. We got large, medium, and small. These can be swapped out. These are all the default items that come with the Frontier liner. But eventually, as time goes on, we make money and we gain rep. we'll be able to buy and replace some of these items. So large components include things like the engine and the cargo holds. The cargo holds that we have here determine the amount of cargo that we can accept. We can go ahead and probably get additional larger cargo holds. This is cargo hold 1, 620 mass per item, and says it stores 25 cargo and adds 40 fuel capacity. So if we were to buff these up to cargo hold 2s, we could store additional cargo and add additional fuel, which is, something we definitely want to keep an eye on. Medium components, we have the bridge, which gives stats to our ship for ship operations. So we get +3 ship ops, +4 electronics, +5 nav, and +5 pilot. Those are things that come into play when we're either moving through the void, jumping, or in combat, or probably elsewhere if we have to engage ship systems. So again, it says bridge. It has a little 1 icon here in the top. So we may be able to increase that over time. Hyperwarp drive, again, increase. Buying a better one would probably allow us to jump a heavier ship further for probably less fuel. Quarters for 24 crew. So this is barracks 3. So we can accommodate 24 crew here. If we wanted to add more crew, we'd up the barracks or maybe add a different barracks. Just quickly over here, this harvester bay, this is an exploration item that comes from the fact that we chose the exploration starting ship. And it increases the yield of raw and refined resources discovery by up to 12% during exploration. So if we are out on an exploration mission or just free explore and we come across refined resources, this will help us get a bonus. And it stores 15 cargo, so that helps buff our cargo. Right here we have a torpedo launcher. Now this obviously is a weapon, and it comes with significantly more information than we normally get out of these particular options. So these are level 2 torpedoes with a +5 accuracy at optimal range of 5. Strikes with 2% critical and 45% crippling chance, and then a bunch of other stats. The torpedo crippling effects are things that we can apply to our enemy. So it could apply an electrical fire, which is +20 component damage per turn and crew damage per turn. Void contortion, so -10 defense, 10 armor, -10 escape, and 10 void resist to the opposing ship. So every time we hit with this, there's a chance when we hit with a crippling hit, there's a chance that one of these can be applied. So if both of those are already present, we get an additional crippling effect, which is pretty cool. So of note is that just like we saw with the personal weapons, there are 5 different positions here for every weapon. Now this particular item says that we get a +5 accuracy at optimal range of 5. If you can see, we've got a little red asterisk right here at the 5th position. And we also have a kind of like an orange asterisk here at the 4th position, meaning that when we are 5, units away from our target, this weapon is most effective. When we move to position 4, when we're 4 away from our target, we can still use it. It's not optimal, but we can still use it. But if we get to position 3, 2, or 1, this weapon is no longer available for use. It's still present, obviously, but we'd have to move to position 5 or position 4 in order to be able to use it. Now, this contrasts to other weapons. We do have a Hydra missile array, which works at positions 5, 4, and 3, but is most effective at position 4. We also have this Imperator PC plasma cannon, which is most effective at range 4, 3, and 2, being most effective at 3, and our Phoenix Lance, which is a level 1 lance, and is more effective closer up, specifically at position 2. So in this particular ship loadout case, this is where we get our effectiveness basically being pretty universal. We have enough weapons to be effective at pretty much any range, but not range 1, even though our lance here technically can operate at position 1. So when you're, upgrading your weapons, that's definitely something you want to keep track of, so that you give yourself the best, combat advantage that you can. Now, again, you can move your ship in and out of range. Your ship may be under the influence of debuffs that prevent you from moving, so you got to keep that, in the back of your mind. But you can also apply similar debuffs to the enemy, basically meaning that if you try and pull back and they try and move forward, if they're debuffed, you can still pull back, but they can't move forward. So you know how it is. We also have the mission. This is the crew, the passenger quarters. We don't want to get rid of that because we may take a mission that requires us to ferry an NPC around, and if we don't have that, we can't take that mission. Weapons locker. So this provides us with weapons. Falcon class weaponry and armor for all crew. This is a level 2 item. So maybe if we got a level 3 item, we'd get better weapons, I guess. I don't know. Officer quarters. These are small components. So that's kind of interesting because we have the bridge, which has captain's quarters. We have general quarters, which has space for 24 crew. And then we have individual quarters for officers. And if you remember, we have 1 captain, 3 officers, and the rest are crew. So this all susses out. If we wanted to add an additional officer, we can actually, figure out a way to maybe cram another quarter in here. We may have to upgrade the hull to get something bigger because right now we're maxed out 10 of 10 small components. And then we have some exploration items. So EVA airlock, so it reduces ship damage by 20% during exploration, and has 1 medical rating. So our medical rating over here has a value of 2, and that's because of these 2 airlocks. I don't know how airlocks translate to medical, but there it goes. Okay, so our map gives us this, and what we didn't look at is the landing zone. But considering we're at 1 hour 17 minutes, I'm going to call it for today, and we're going to come back in the next episode. We'll look quickly at planets, and then we'll get underway to go and talk to our exploration combat contact for some exploration missions, and we'll get this ship underway.